Hello, my name is Sandra, and welcome to my channel From Lack to Legacy. On this channel, we're all things money, investing, and mindset. In particular, how to go from a scarcity mindset to a mindset of abundance. If this sounds like something that you're interested in, please stay. If this is your first time, then of course, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, share the channel. If you've been here before, you already know the drill. You know what to do, y'all. Hit the buttons, say hello in the chat, introduce yourselves, hit a link. We got a lot of good stuff going on. You all know our very own Mara Love is always down for a good cause. And if you can see from the banner that is posted, and it's also in the chat, and of course, it's also in the description box, that Marilyn is raising money for Alzheimer's. And she does this every year. This is a cause that is near and dear to her heart. So we are asking you to support her by hitting that link. If you can't get it from the chat, then by all means, check it out in the description box. And let's do our part. I'm telling you, even if you don't know somebody who's affected by Alzheimer's, it's such a good cause. And we know that the money is going to go to help people in need. So I've done my part. Marilyn, I don't know how close you are to reaching your goal, but I hope that you exceed your goal. As you guys know I'm just looking at my phone, from the title of the video, tonight I'm supposed to have my guest, Dr. Kimani, from Lifting as We Climb Wellness Services. Last week, if you missed it, oh, it was earlier this week, she and I did a video on when your mother is your first bully, along with Danny Ellison. I've worked with both of those ladies in the past, and we are going to have a continuation of that conversation tonight. Actually, let me just kind of lay the groundwork for you, because that conversation was so hot. You can only imagine. I felt like Dr. K did such a beautiful job of framing that discussion in a way that was respectful and sensitive, because who in the world has had it tougher than a Black mother? I can't think of anybody who has had to do more with less and still came out, on top, head and shoulders above. And so she framed that conversation so beautifully, as this is not an indictment of Black mothers, but this is an observation that many of us have experienced in our upbringing. And I don't know if you take issue with the word bullying. If somebody does, I can understand that. But we really were examining the phenomenon of some of those old tropes that we hear throughout. We hear them in the Black community. Children are to be seen and not heard. Do as I say, not as I do. What happens here stays here. And we were examining how those very tropes silence particularly young Black women and Black children, period. And I still hear those things, being said. And I think that we also looked at the epigenetics of it, how something can be passed down from generation to generation to generation, and we never even really question it. And so we had that discussion, and I wanted to piggyback off of that discussion because as you all know, this is October, right? October is Bullying Prevention Month. And so I thought we could piggyback off of that conversation, talking about how that dynamic might prime us as adult women to stay in work environments that are also equally as toxic or may have bullying elements in this our work environment. And that because we have been primed in our youth to be voiceless or to stand down and to respect authority, because for some of us, we learned that silence means respect. And I take issue with that. Silence does not necessarily signal respect. And so I hope that we can get Dr. K. I think there may have been a mix up in our time. Dr. K is on the West Coast. So I'm trying, if y'all see me checking my phone, you already know what I'm doing. I'm trying to see, did we have a mix up with the time? She's in California and I'm in Thailand. So come on, anything could happen. So that's the path that we will take tonight. And hopefully Dr. K can jump on here with us, because as I was doing the research, of course I'm researching. I've had a lived experience, but my experience doesn't necessarily have to be yours. And so I started doing this research between, what happens to us, what happens to our brain, what happens to us physiologically as we are exposed to these toxic, stressful environments, whether it be at home or whether it be at work. And of course, I'm not surprised. There was tons of research, and I'll share some of it with you. There was tons of research about bullying in the workplace. But when I got really specific and started asking, like, what happens to Black women? Suddenly there's no research. And so if there's some hotshot researcher out there, preferably a sister, this would be an area for you to focus on, because according to Workplace Bullying Institute, nearly 48.6 million workers in the US have been directly affected by bullying at work, and many, many more have witnessed this. And so it sent me down this rabbit hole of, well, we know that being in prolonged stressful situations absolutely has an impact on your physical health. But as I started researching, there is an impact that it also has on your cognitive health. And while so many of us are willing to go to the doctor, we'll take our car in to be serviced, we'll go get our teeth checked, we'll get our ears checked, some of us still have some reservations, or we're a little slower to connect with a good therapist or to connect with good mental health care providers. And so I wanted to just bring out this point that the research suggests, and I also linked 4 studies, because it's not just me talking. It's the researchers. The research is there. Even though I took issue that it isn't specific to Black women, the research is there. And I'm just going to share some of it, because I think we should absolutely be trying to escape any place, whether it's a home environment, whether it's a work environment, whether it's a whole country that is engaging in toxic practices that are not good for our physical health, our mental health, and our cognitive health. And so I'm going to read this to you, because I want you to hear. When I heard it, I was like, it gave me this sense of urgency that we really do need to be out of these spaces. And so let me give you this. It says research suggests a possible link between chronic stress experienced by women in toxic work environments and an increased risk of cognitive decline later in life. Now, I don't know if y'all caught that, but I caught that. For most of us, I'm talking, we're 40 above, 35 and above, when we're in the prime of our work careers. We're grinding. We've been in the place, we know what we're talking about. If you find yourself in a bullying situation at work, here's a reason. Not, I've heard people say, I'm not going to let them run me away. Listen, they're not running you away from some utopian haven. The research suggests that if you are exposed to stress and all that comes along with that situation, hey, Marissa, that we could experience, of course, we know how stress affects our body. We know that it doesn't feel good. But later on down the line, now this doesn't suggest causation, but I'm saying that there could be a possible link with cognitive decline later in life. So do we really want to be in places and spaces that don't support us in the now and then continue to pay in the later? I'll be perfectly honest with you. It was one of the reasons why I left. I was so motivated to leave when I realized that, oh my goodness, this is a toxic work environment. I was like, yeah, it's time to go, because I was aware of the research that not only are you paying now while you're experiencing it, that could show up and manifest in your body in any number of ways. It could be sleep loss, it could be appetite loss, depression, anxiety. That's the here and now that you can feel. But to understand that maybe even down the line, later in life, that this might continue even once you've left the situation, that you may still be paying for it down the line. So there are 3 studies that I want to share, and I'm not going to get technical with y'all because I'm waiting on Dr. K to join the conversation so that she can bring her expertise. But I did link these 3 studies in the description box below. And one of them is called the Framingham Heart Study. And that's a long running study, but they looked at the impact of stress, chronic stress, prolonged stress on the effects of our health and particularly our cognitive health. And that is why you see, I started out the stream with Maryland is raising money for Alzheimer's. And I'm asking you to support that cause because we want to look at our overall health. We want to be supporting our physical health, our mental health, all of it, not just today, but down the line. So that Farmington study I thought was pretty interesting. Then there's one called the Rotterdam Study. And that's another long-term study that looked at key insights into aging and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. So I am not saying that chronic stress causes anything, but I am saying that there's some research that suggests that if we are in these unhealthy situations for prolonged periods of time, that we can, in fact, be damaging our bodies in the here and now and having some impact on cognitive decline later in the future. There was another study, the study of women's health across nations. It's called the SWAN study. Y'all don't have to take it from me. I am telling you, if you are in a toxic work situation, a toxic work environment, time is of the essence. We are absolutely worth taking a pause, getting in community, finding the help. Dr. K, and I know she'll be joining us soon. She and Marissa are actually co-hosting a two-part series later this month, and I've got those links as well. So let me put that link up. The first one is going to be hosted on October 20th, and it's how to leave a toxic job. And then the following week on the 27th, they're also going to be hosting how to heal from a toxic job. Because take it from me as a toxic workplace survivor, once you leave, yes, you are out of imminent danger. You're out of the environment that is affecting you, but there are lingering effects. And so we don't want to, we have given enough. I feel like every Black woman I know has done enough. She has given enough. We are not giving up brain cells. At least I'm not. That's where I draw the line. I'll be perfectly honest with you all. You all know that's why I drew the line. I was like, okay, I understand. I was a teacher for 30 years. That's a stressful job, just on its own. I could live with that. I could live with the daily stress of, this is just the way it's going to be. Children are not going to always be prepared. Families are not always going to be perfect. I could live with that. The workload, I could live with that. But what I was not willing to do was to add insult to injury while I'm doing this very tough work, that now I have this toxic boss. That's where I draw the line. Now we're talking about my mental health. Wait a minute. I agree to the first part. The second part, I'm not on board. I will not willingly be a part of my undoing. And so that was what prompted me. Now, if that is you, I understand. Nobody understands better than me than how difficult it is, especially when you're at the height of your career, or especially when you're close to retirement, which was the case for me. I was so close to retirement, number one. It didn't make sense to me. I was like, I don't even know why you over here looking at me, because I am so close to retirement. But I still found myself in a situation with, in education, we call them, and particularly in school buildings, we call them bully principals. And that was where I found myself in the last stretch of my career. I, for one, was stunned. And I'm sure that I can't be the only person who's found yourself in a situation and you look around and you're like in disbelief. That was me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? This late in the game? But it was, in fact, my reality. And just by chance, I've always been a reader. I've always been somewhat of a researcher. I had already been looking into like the effects, of course, as a teacher, ADD, ADHD, how those things affect your brain, autism spectrum. So I'd always been interested in this brain research. And so to be in a place where I knew that this environment was affecting my very own brain health, I was like, oh, no, no, no. We're about to read all the studies and all the research. And I'll be honest with you, it wasn't even, I've heard people say, I'm not going to let them run me out. I had a bit of that, but that didn't motivate me. That didn't motivate me to get out of there. You know what I'm trying to say. What motivated me really to pull the trigger and say, okay, this is not worth it. We have crossed over into something that is unhealthy, and it's not worth the fight. It's not even worth trying to stay to get the extra pennies off the table in terms of, making more for a pension. It was the thought that someone who didn't mean me well could have that kind of impact on me, not only today, but in the future. I wasn't willing to sacrifice it. I was like, there's no money. There is no money. There is no job title. There is no prestige. There isn't anything that is worth your brain health. There's nothing worth it. Because I'm going to say this, physical health, it's all important, but you can kind of get around a little as your physical health declines. You know what I'm saying? If you don't move as fast, okay, so you slow down. You can adopt some things that kind of help you move through life as you're aging and your body is aging. But once your mind goes, once your brain is affected, I was like, it's just not a price I'm willing to pay. And so I want you guys to consider, if this is the case, in light of the fact that this is Bullying Prevention Month. October is Bullying Prevention Month. If you are a woman, particularly a Black woman, in a toxic work environment, and you need help, you need support, you need community, you need solutions, you need that. Please, you've got to go over to Dr. Kimani's channel, Lifting as We Climb, and Marissa's channel as well. They both are doing great work in this space and helping sisters get free. And this isn't a one-time deal. They've done these master classes. I'm not sure how regularly they do them, but I know for a fact that they've got 2 coming up. Hey, Abba. Hi, you guys. So I'm going to put the information back up on the screen for you. Again, it's in the description box. You can find it also on my community tab. We are here as a community of Black women, as sisters. This is exactly what we do. We see a problem, we address the problem. Dr. Kimani and Marissa have so wonderfully created and crafted this master class, and it's in 2 parts. And what I love about it is that they understand how this thing works. So if you're concerned about anonymity, they do it over a Zoom. It's 2 Zoom sessions. There are no cameras. You can change your name. I don't want anything to stop any woman who is in a place where she needs this help, because I understand. You don't know who you can trust. You don't know who you can, and the last thing you want if you're trying to escape a situation like that or free yourself from a situation like that is to exacerbate it by maybe putting out in the ethos that you're looking for another job, or that you are in some way telling on the bully and exposing. You want to be out of there safely. And another person who you can check out too is Anne Marie, the HR lady. You can find all of these YouTube channels. I'll link them all below. If that is you, if you are in a toxic work environment, please, by all means, reach out. Let us help you. Let Dr. Kimani, the second session is how to heal. That first session is going to give you practical advice, practical steps. First of all, you need to be able to recognize that that is the case in the first place. And so they're going to help you work through those first stages. And then once you've created a plan to get out, how do you begin to heal? Because trust me, you will need some assistance in healing. Just leaving is the biggest step. Just recognizing that your toxic workplace is not good for you and that you have to make some changes or adjustments, or maybe you can't leave. How do you thrive in a place that is not designed to support you? What are some tools? What are some strategies? What are some things that you need to have in place? And I will tell you right now, community is going to be one of those things. So do yourself a favor. I have included the links. Use my affiliate link for either one of those sessions. I would say if you could do both sessions, please do both sessions. I think you receive a discount if you sign up for both of those sessions. So let me see who is in the comments with us. Yeah. Did I show you all? I'm going to tell you. Let me read this to you too. It says workplace bullying is a significant issue, particularly for Black women. According to Workplace Bullying Institute, nearly 48.6 million workers in the U.S. have been directly affected by bullying at work, and many more have witnessed it. In addition, 80% of workplace bullying involves bosses and managers. This isn't coworker to coworker. This is directly your supervisors, people who are in charge of creating safe environments. And women of color, we're not even get started, often face harsher conditions because of the intersectionality between race and gender. The research supports this, and I'll put this down in the box too. So for Black women, this can be compounded by experiences such as microaggressions, hello, systemic biases, and other discriminatory practices that create a toxic work environment. And so we know that it's going on, but there is this veil of silence where you don't know what to do. And so we are here offering support and help. There was another one. Oh, I told y'all I was doing all the doggone research. And when I found those studies, most of the people that were involved in those studies, the demographic, is not us. So while this is happening, that number is staggering. The number, what was it? 48.6 million. They're not even talking about us, y'all. I can't even imagine if we were to have a study centered around Black women and our mental health and how we're doing in the workplace, particularly corporate America. But I know that it's prevalent in philanthropy. Who saw the who saw the interview that Stephanie did with, I want to say it was Dr. Redmond, and she worked in philanthropy, and she talked about how toxic the work environment is in a helping profession, in a profession that is designed to help people. You would think that that would be the most compassionate work sector of any work sector. And that wasn't the case. She wrote an entire book about it. And it was almost heartbreaking to hear because I could totally identify with everything that she was saying. I could identify with every syllable, and I know that I can't be the only one. But what we want you to know is that you are not alone. You are never alone. Once you find a community of Black women, I've said it before, all you got to do is show us the problem and we will start to fix it. We will jump right on it. Yes, we catch it double time. We're going to catch it. Not only do we have the issue of race, add in that you're female in the workplace. And yeah, I'm telling you, we always catch it, and we are definitely catching it in the workplace. I've witnessed it, I've experienced it, and I want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can in this community to support you. So, have we gotten a chance to get with Dr. K? Well, let me tell you how that led me to putting up Maryland's fundraiser, because we understand that breast brain stressing our brain can cause cognitive decline. And I'm going to be very careful here. And this is exactly why I put the studies down, because I don't want to misrepresent. I am not a doctor. I do not give doctor, I do not give medical advice. Y'all know I don't give financial advice. I don't give any advice. But I do like to share good information. And so I invite you to take a look at those studies. While there's no direct correlation between being exposed to prolonged stress and bullying in the workplace with causing Alzheimer's or any kind of cognitive decline, there is a link, and it's certainly worth us looking into, and it's certainly worth us being aware of. Just the awareness of it was enough for me to say, girl, I'm packing my bag. Are you kidding me? It's bad enough. I don't know. And I would imagine that it's even more difficult if you're really fairly compensated. I could imagine how the money, or having children in college, or having a home and being established, I can imagine how those things might be really strong factors that might have you thinking twice about leaving that environment. But let me tell you something. That wasn't my case. I was a teacher. We weren't particularly well paid. We weren't particularly well respected. And the internet is messing up. Okay. So my internet, y'all know my internet is clowning and acting up. So I'm going to keep moving. If it freezes, you all know what to do. Just hold tight. I'll be back. We're coming. It's coming. It keeps popping in and out. So yeah, it was really like a no-brainer for me. I was at the end of my career. I'm 30 years in. Y'all not even paying me top dollar. Even though I was making top dollar in my field compared to corporate America, this is really peanuts. And now you're gonna talk about stressing me to the point where you damaging my brain cells, baby. I am not for sale in that way. But if you are, had I been maybe 20 years younger, I got kids at home, kids in college, that's a whole different situation. That might make it a little more difficult for you to move around. And if that's the case, if it's difficult for you to escape or to leave, then you're definitely going to need some tools. And some of those tools are: one, you're going to need a community. Another thing you're going to be able to, that might be able to help you, is that you're going to be able to identify who all those people are. Because there's a set number of players in a situation like that. I'm telling you, usually there's a bully. That could be the boss. That could be anybody who's in a position of power. There's a golden child, sometimes that favored employee. And then there's this whole pitting one against the other. You may find an element of that. If you don't go along with the program, there may be a smear campaign where now they're going to just besmirch your name and drag you through the mud. And there may be an all-out attack. Any number of those things could occur in a toxic work environment. And there are things that you can do to secure yourself if you can't leave. Getting a good therapist, having a safe place where you can talk about it. And I'll tell you, your workplace is not the safe place. I made all the mistakes because nobody was using this language. I didn't have a clue. I knew what was happening wasn't right, but okay. She had it set for 8 p.m. Okay, no problem. You tell her we're holding it down. We are holding it down until she comes. I just hope this internet can hold up. You all know my $9 internet over here in Thailand does what it does. So she's usually good for about an hour, and we're about 26 minutes in. But I appreciate you all. So let me just roll through the chat and say hello to everybody. Hey, Marilyn. Here, Mira Love. Hey, Yvette. I'm so glad. Y'all need to get over there and check out Yvette's channel too. Yvette Boone Creates. I'm telling you, you want to talk about a part of your therapy, something that can help you. Yvette has the most beautiful plants. They had a little hiccup over there. Her plants had a little hiccup. But when I tell you, gorgeous, beautiful, she is the plant whisperer. I know when I was a plant mommy back in the States, that was something that I found great solace in, being able to come home and have a beautiful environment. That's something that you can do. Who else did I see? Oh, hi, Natural Ally D. When I tell you we have women in this chat that can help you, aromatherapy. Are you into natural, whole, healthy, vitamins or supplements? You might want to check out Danny's channel. Y'all know I'm over here trying to do my best to kill some time. I appreciate y'all for hanging in here with me. Dr. K is on her way, so do not leave. Stay sticking here with us. She'll be popping in anytime, and then we can finish this conversation. But I did want to acknowledge the ladies that are in the chat who are here to help, love, and support. Please check out Marissa's channel. Marissa is doing great work in this space of supporting Black women in their mental health and how to live healthy, whole lives. Hey, Abba, I think I said hi to Abba. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, that's our Exodus sister who is here in Thailand, in Chiang Mai with me. Who is that? Hey, soldiers. How are you? Hey, Colette Elizabeth. How are you? It's so good to see you guys. So, yes, I know that I mentioned that the masterclass happens in 2 sessions. The first session is scheduled for the 20th. It's Sunday the 20th. It's a Zoom session. If anyone is concerned about anonymity and safety, I just love the way they've put this together. You don't have to have your name on display. You don't have your face on display. It's totally anonymous, but you can go and get the tips and the help and the support that you need to navigate, because not everybody is going to be able to wake up in the morning and discover that, oh, this is an unhealthy work environment. Oh, it's time for me to go. We have obligations and we understand that. And so these women, and I want to say, I don't know the other panelists. I'll let Dr. K share with you who the other panelists are, but it happens in 2 sessions. So that's first session is Sunday, October the 20th. The second session is the following Sunday, October the 27th. And that is how to heal from a toxic work environment. And when I tell you you're going to need that support, leaving is the first step. And it's one of the most important steps, but you will need some aftercare because the lingering effect of being exposed to it, and depending on how long you were in it, can, it's just, it can have a significant impact. So I want to encourage you guys to do that. I want to also encourage you to support Marilyn as she's raising money for Alzheimer's as well. And I put that link in the chat. So let me see if I can find that one. There it is. And the links are also down in the description box for anybody who is so inclined to sign up for those classes, the 2 master classes, and to help Marilyn in her bid to raise money for Alzheimer's research. And yeah, I encourage you, please go check out that research. I was stunned, but I also was not stunned when I started to dig deeper and I was asking, in particular, I was able to get overall research about brain health, the effects of stress on your brain, on cognitive decline. That was there. But when I tried to hone in on research on Black women in particular, almost nothing. And which is so shameful because we are, I mean, where would a man be without our labor? Where would they be? Oh, there's Dr. K. Hey, Dr. K.
Oh my God,
How
Sandra,
are you,
I'm
Dr. K?
so sorry. I got the times mixed up.
No,
I'm so
we were
sorry.
trying to work it out. Nope, even in the planning, it's like doing calculus, trying to figure out and coordinate. I think I've crossed the international date line. So trying to figure out the time is insane. So I'm so glad. Are you good?
Yes,
You okay?
it is.
I'm so glad you got
I'm
in.
good. I'm sorry. I'm so
No.
sorry. Yes.
No. Listen, in your stead, we have put the links up. We've talked about the 2-part
Oh, you're
masterclass that is
awesome.
happening. The first part is Sunday, October the 20th, and that is how to get
Yes.
free of a toxic work environment. And the following Sunday, October the 22nd, is the second part of that masterclass series, how to heal from a toxic work environment. Because trust me, walking away is such a big step, but afterwards, there's still so much work that you're going to need to do to be healthy, happy, whole, and move on from that. It's not a one and done. Trust me, I know. And I'm 3 years out. And Dr. K, I'm telling you, and I'm just going to go back because I just want to retrace some of the things that you and I talked about in
Yeah.
our last interview. We started this conversation because October is National Bullying Prevention Month. And we
Mhm.
started out a conversation talking about how when your mother is your first bully. And so, Dr.
Yes.
K, I wanted to expound on that because I think, and I was sharing with the audience before you came, that I had been
Mhm.
doing some research in how Black women in particular, if you've been exposed to bullying, say at home or in any environment prior to the workplace, how you
Mhm.
may be predisposed to stay longer.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so can we just start there? Because in our previous talk, that's where we started that conversation. Dr. K, talk to us about that. I was so fascinated. I couldn't believe, I'm like, that makes total sense.
The parallels, right? So when you think about being with a mother who's your first bully, you get the double message that there's something wrong with me. I need to do something better. But wait, this person protects me. They love me. So maybe I'm doing something wrong. So maybe I need to just keep trying to appease them and do better and do whatever. And you could never satisfy them. And so you're in this kind of like this abuse cycle where you constantly feel that, oh, she loves me, or my boss loves me, or the job loves me, and they give me these accolades, and then boom, then there's the abuse, and then you're thinking, wait, I must have done something, and so you're looking at yourself and you're questioning yourself, but you get into this cycle. And
Mm,
so those early experiences with a mom who might be a bully primes you for not only toxic work environments, but abusive relationships, abusive friendships. just things that are not to our benefit because we don't really know our own self-worth. Because when we think about our mother's our primary attachment figure, and you think that your mother is the one who is going to love you unconditionally. So you're constantly trying to seek that validation, that love, that support. And I think that's what keeps us at these toxic jobs because we're seeking that external validation, but they are determined not to give it to us. And they know that they can use it to exploit us. So we're constantly trying to get more and do more and try. It's a setup for failure.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about those similarities and those parallels between those two. And I love that you said not just your work environment, but this could be your friend circle. This could
Oh, absolutely.
be in a relationship. Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. K, we also talked about in that conversation some things that you can look for in your workplace because we found that there's some commonalities in the roles that people play. That's how I
Ah,
figured
yes.
it.
Uh-huh.
I looked up, I was like, oh my gosh, you're the bully. I was so able, but had I not had that language, I wouldn't have been
Yes.
able to make that connection. Can you talk to us about some of the roles that you'll see in these unhealthy, toxic work environments?
Yes, you're right. So there's an identifiable bully, and there's usually those, as I think you call them flying monkeys, right? So the flying monkeys who collude with the bully, they never confront the bully. They're the yes people because ultimately they're scared that they're going to be the target. And so these are the people who are observing you in the workplace, getting harmed, and they're not saying a thing. Maybe they might say things to you in private, like, oh man, that was messed up, or girl, but they will not come out in public to support you. And so they're complicit with what's happening to you. And yeah, you're right. When you can spot it, and the thing about it too is when you spot that there's a bully and people are complicit in it, then the system more than likely is complicit in it too, because they know who the bully is. They know. It's not a secret. Like if you go to HR, they already know about this bully. But guess what? HR more than likely is invested in pushing you out and keeping the bully there. So you're thinking, oh, I need to go and report this person. Girl, they setting you up. They have already circled the wagons before you even walk into that office.
We talked about that, and that your workplace is not the place to seek help. I know
No.
that many of us think that HR is there to serve us. Dr. K, can you elaborate just a little bit about how to keep yourself safe? I was
Yes.
that girl, Dr.
Me
K. I thought,
too.
let me just
Girl,
go.
I was
There's a
too.
reason. Yes.
I was too. And that's the part that I'm so disgusted about with this whole process. And part of it is too is my own self-forgiveness. So now that I've resigned from the job, part of the self-forgiveness is I didn't know. I thought that human resources was to help employees, especially when you had documentation, because I had my documentation. I was going in with my documentation. Big mistake. Don't go in there and show them your goodies because they're going to use your goodies against you. So the thing about HR is there to protect the company. It is not there to protect you. And they will, before you even come into that room, they have already talked to your manager, the supervisor, the bully. They've already talked to those people. So once you come in there, they're trying to figure out how do we mitigate risk? Is this person a big risk for us? And how do we mitigate the risk? So you may be going in with a certain expectation and completely you are thrown off. I felt like I was blindsided. I felt like I actually did a video about this. I felt like I was walking to an ambush. I'm
Yeah.
thinking one thing and they coming for me. They ready to come. I'm thinking, wait a minute. I'm coming here to talk about the bully and you all are coming back at me. Like, what's happening here? So my suggestion is if you do choose to go to HR, please be informed. Number one, HR is not there to support you. Yes, the anti-HR lady. Yes, absolutely. So
And
Amory Archer talks
Mhm.
about this a lot, and I've had her on my channel. She's been a speaker at the Job Liberation Virtual Summit. It's so important for you to recognize and the importance of you protecting yourself. So have all your documentation. Anne Marie says from day one. So the first day you start working, you document every single day what has happened. And when you have meetings with supervisors, that you memorialize that meeting by sending them an email, a recap email. Okay. But when you document on your own away from the job. Don't document on their property because that's their property, but have a paper trail and protect yourself. And if you're going to HR, be informed about what specifically are you asking them and what outcome do you expect. And Anne-Marie also says, when you go to HR and you're trying to file a complaint, just know you basically have a target on your back. So you need to start having your exit plan started rolling as you are going into HR, because now you are the target of retaliation, even though they would never say that.
Absolutely. When you talk, it's like, oh my goodness, where I needed you 3 years ago. But if that's you today, you have the benefit of this experience. I am telling you, Dr. K, can we back it up just a little bit?
Yeah.
Can you give us some red flags? Because for some of us, we may not even know, we may not even recognize it. We know that something's off, we don't feel supported. But can you give us a short list of some things that you might find in a toxic work environment to clue you in that, oh yes, sis, this is not just you're having an off month or an off week?
It's so many things. So it can be where you feel disrespected. So people might question your competence, even though you were more than likely overqualified to even get the job. But they might question your competence. They might start piling on extra work for you with no extra compensation. They may throw you under the bus. Gossiping is a big one. What else? Like little snide comments and excluding you from meetings, excluding you from information, lying on you, just straight
I
up
was going to say the
lying
smear
on
campaign. Oh, the whole smear campaign.
you,
Oh gosh.
girl. And the thing I think was challenging for many of us, which was challenging for me, and it's a trap because they'll lie on you. And then if you're like me, you hate being lied on. So then you feel like you have to protect your integrity, or you have to clear the air, you have to set things straight. But now they got you because now you're in this thing and you're thinking it's one thing, but they're really setting you up for something else. And so we have to be mindful of, don't take the bait when you see this stuff is happening. Pause and really reality test with somebody who's not at the job, maybe a therapist, a coach, somebody else not at the job, about what's happening so you don't fall into these traps. So all these things might start happening, right? Maybe you miss out on promotions, even though you're overqualified. Maybe they're asking you to train somebody else, and then you train that person gets promoted over you, or you might get demoted like I did without any basis, where you have wonderful, outstanding performance evaluations, and then boom, something happens. And then I've talked about extensively Pets a Threat. So that might happen
Yes.
to you. So Pets a Threat, if anybody's not familiar with it, it was created by 3 Black women researchers, Dr. Juanita Johnson-Bailey, Dr. Keisha Thomas, Dr. Rosemary Phelps. And that deals with when a Black woman comes into the workplace or she's sought out because of her outstanding work abilities, then they love her. She's the pet. Oh, Sandra's so smart. We love her. Oh my God, we love you. We love you. And then Sandra starts outshining other people in the workplace. And there's a shift in terms of how she's treated as a threat. And so I absolutely experienced that. I've done videos on that. So that is a telltale sign too. So there's many different things that might happen, but how you can really tell it's a toxic situation is when you start experiencing physical and or psychological symptoms. So it might be your blood pressure's going up, you're gaining weight, you're losing weight, you have difficulty sleeping, your skin is breaking out, you're having chest pains, your stomach is just jacked up all the time, your hair is falling out. I used to have really bad nosebleeds, never had nosebleeds ever in my life, but I started having really heavy nosebleeds. So it can range the gamut to extreme things. You might have a heart attack, stroke, develop cancer, all that stress. So that's
Yes.
physical. And then psychologically, depression, anxiety, trauma symptoms. So your job might actually induce PTSD types of symptoms, or it might remind you of other traumas in your life. You also may experience a sense of dread. I used to have a dread like every day waking up, and then Sundays it was just a wash. Just pure misery. And so all of these psychological symptoms carry over and the physical onto your personal life. So now the
Mhm.
job is not only consuming you and harming you in the professional space, it's impacting your personal life. So in terms of what you want to do personally, you're exhausted. You are emotionally drained from the job. So that means that when you do have time off, you are so consumed with trying to feel better that you might
Mhm.
constantly talk about the job all the time to the point where all your family and friends know about the job. So now it's impacting your relationships outside the job too. And so we have to be mindful of that. And at the very extreme, what we can see happen is that people can experience suicidal thoughts and or behaviors. And we saw what happened with Dr. Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey. We also can see homicidal thoughts or actions. So it can be very serious. That's why it's so
Mhm.
important to really identify early on what is toxic for you. So it's not just that somebody says, oh, girl, that doesn't seem toxic. You need to know for yourself. Does this not feel good in my body? Am I getting sick? Am I accessing these so called good benefits because I'm getting sick by the job? No, you have to pause and say, wait a minute, this is not healthy for me. And what do I need to do? So I think the big part of it is Black women might say, okay, I do hate this job. I recognize that. I hate that. But I don't know what to do because I have bills to pay. I can't just up and leave this job. I got bills to pay. I need health
Yeah.
insurance. I got kids. I got all these things. And
All the
so
things.
all the things, right? So the master class and everything that I offer, and so the master class with Marissa is to really help Black women prepare to leave. So how do you prepare to get that exit plan? How do you prepare to replace your income? What are the ways that you can do that career pivot, right?
Mhm.
And if you want to take legal action, what are some things that you need to keep in mind as well? So Marissa and I are going to be presenting on Sunday, as well as Latrice is going to be talking about the legal element, and then Patrice is going to be talking about the career pivot. So there's so much information available to us. So if the how is, I don't know how, we're showing you how. We are all Black women toxic job survivors in the masterclass, sharing information with the how. And we also understand that as Black women that we like to keep our business private. We don't want people in our business. We don't want people to know we're trying to leave the job. So
Mhm.
no one will be seen on camera except for the speakers. So if you're a participant, you will not be seen on camera and your name will not be listed.
Mhm. Dr. K, thank you for that. We went over that. I am telling you, I understand that need for anonymity,
Yes.
because you can further exacerbate a situation or make yourself even more of a target if they know that
Mm-hmm.
you're telling that this is going on. So
Mm-hmm.
please rest assured your identity will be totally protected. I found that gave me some comfort in knowing, as I was referring women, to be able to tell them you don't have to worry about that. Nobody is
Yeah.
going to know. The help is there for you. Just to make sure that you can access and get out of there. That's the most important
Yes.
thing, is to get in community with women who
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because so much of it, we didn't even talk about the gaslighting that
Oh,
goes on in those situations. That is so undermining to your confidence. It will really have you thinking that you are the problem and you are crazy.
exactly. And that's part of the smear campaign too. Because I remember when stuff was happening at my toxic job, previous, thank God, they said, even though they had done so much stuff to me, they would say, oh, we just don't like the way she's handling the situation. What? You have done all these things to me, but you don't like how I'm handling the situation. In fact, I'm handling this with a lot of integrity and professionalism. I want to curse people out, but I'm not doing
Mhm,
it because I'm professional. But now you're
mhm,
saying, right? So the mind
mhm.
trip, or I call it the mind F, actually, is that you're
Yep,
making it seem like I did something wrong. I was a problem. You did this to me, but let's not focus on anything that you've done.
yeah.
And now you're
It's a
lying to
whole
me.
game.
Right. Yes, it's a whole
And
game.
you can feel isolated. And that's the whole goal, is to
Uh,
get you isolated. Dr. K, when I was going through it, I said there must be a handbook where they teach this, because Everything that you are saying is exactly the playbook. There is a playbook, and they know how to play the game. And
They
what I
do.
would say to a sister is that, girl, it's not going to get better.
Oh,
You know,
no, it's not.
we're hopeful that, well, maybe if I do this, or maybe if this person, no, if that's a toxic system, trust me, it's a toxic system. It's not going to get better.
It's
And
going to
you
get
nailed it.
worse.
It will absolutely get worse,
Hmm.
especially if you try to stand up and say, well,
Oh,
that's what this is. Now, if
oh,
you're playing the game, I don't even think that those people are really getting away unscathed. Even the ones that agree to remain silent, you are
yeah,
still in a toxic environment. You are still not able to be your fullest self, because the
yeah,
day that you speak up, oh, you're going to get the exact same treatment. And that is
yeah.
why there's that whole public shaming, that whole public lynching. It's not
Hmm.
just for you, it's for the others that are watching.
Absolutely.
So that
Absolutely. And I say
you don't,
I call it psychological lynching because I felt like they were trying to get in my head to make me think that I was less than, there was something wrong with me, right? And then it was that public humiliation. You see what we did to her? You better stay in your place or it's going to happen to you. So those people who are not speaking up, because I've always been somebody to speak up, okay?
yep.
So those people who don't speak up in the workplace, they are also being harmed because they are consumed with fear. So every day they are in fear that it's going to roll back to them in some kind of way. And it will eventually. It'll eventually roll back to them in some kind of way. But every day they are consumed with fear. And that's how they live their existence. That is extremely stressful.
Yeah. Dr. K, I like to think, and my next question, I kind of already know the answer. I was going to say, could you share some success stories, some women who have successfully pivoted out? But y'all, we really don't even have to go further than the chat. We can look, right, you are looking at two women who successfully pivoted out of toxic work environments and created a lane for themselves. Dr. K, talk to us about that, because that was never an option. Nobody ever said to me,
Mhm,
Sandra, you can
mhm.
leave this place and start your own. That was never, they told me, well, you've been here 35 years. Who's going to hire you? That was the
Oh,
conversation I got.
wow.
Where are you going at this age? Talk to us about
Mm,
the possibilities of the pivot.
yeah. Well, first, I want to say this. We have to be mindful of who we share information with around us. So if somebody says something like that to us, like, you can't go anywhere, where are you going to go? This is a good job, all that kind of stuff, you need to use some discretion and say, you know what? I'm not going to tell this person my business anymore because they're going to keep me stuck in an environment where I'm continuing to be harmed. So that's the first thing. But if we just look on the YouTube world, Stephanie Perry, Rashida Dow, Halisi, Adelia, Krishan, Marissa, me, Colette Elizabeth, you, Dee. I mean, all of these Black women have been in a toxic work environment. They have pivoted out and they are doing so much better physically and psychologically. So you are able to pivot out. Now, some Black women pivot out and they create their own thing. Okay. They create their own business, or they may go into another job and the job might be good. So not all jobs are horrible. I think it's important for us to recognize what are the toxic signs, red flags. I need to watch out for that. And we're covering that in the masterclass so that once you leave a job, you don't end up in another toxic job or a job that's even worse than the job you came from.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I would like to say that my hope is that on my YouTube channel that I have, or I am chronicling my own healing journey and how I was able to pivot, because I actually started my YouTube channel when I was on a leave of absence from that job. And so it was kind of helping me build up the courage to leave. So my hope is that when Black women watch my YouTube channel, that maybe they might be in a similar position. They may really want to go, they hate it, they dread it, but they're scared. The fear is there. And I just
Mhm.
wanted to say the fear is a normal reaction. It's a normal reaction. We're going to be talking about that in the masterclass about how to deal with the fear, how to walk through. So still move forward, still plan, even if you have the fear, but don't let the fear stop you.
Yeah. Dr. K, it's Sunday night. And I can remember dreading a mini Sunday night.
Yes.
That tummy churn, because you know
Whew.
tomorrow you have to go in and face this whole horrid situation. If there's a sister sitting with us tonight, Sunday
Yes.
night,
Yes.
with that feeling of dread, what is
Yes.
something that you can give her? Because we still, the first session is October 20th, is coming up. She's got a few days before she can get to the sister circle for the help. What would
Yes.
you tell her to do immediately on having to go into the workplace tomorrow to face this same horrid situation? What is something she could do immediately to help insulate herself or to help cope with that situation?
Yes, several things. One is just know you're not alone. So that helps too. So a lot of times when these things happen, you feel like I'm the only one going through this. Number one, you are not alone. Number two, you have resources and you have options. So even if it feels like, oh my God, I got to go in this place, know that it's time limited. You will be making a plan to get out. That helped me tremendously. And think about what other resources do you have available to you. So it might be, so what I'm gonna offer some short-term band-aids, but this is just to help you get through it, okay? So as you get up, think about what is your goal for that day and what helps center you as you are on that your way to your job. So is it listening to supportive music? Is it listening to a supportive podcast? What is that? As you get out of the car, remember, think about what is your affirmation going to be for that day to get you through the day. And if you have to keep reminding yourself of that, then keep doing that. Remember to engage in deep breathing. Take steps away from your desk. Maybe take a walk outside if you're able to. Do these things. And let's say when you're at lunch, if you don't want to eat with these people, don't eat with them. Okay. Your lunch is your time. So you need to have some time to regroup and not feel like you're always like on guard and people always watch. You got to pretend eating lunch with them. If you don't want to, make up an excuse about why you can't have lunch with them. And then make sure you leave work on time. And once you leave work, think about, okay, I want to process this what happened to me, but make it time limited. My hope is that once you get to your door, or if you're working from home, once your workday is over, that you don't spend the majority of your evening talking about your job. I used to make my home my sanctuary space. So once I got off of my job, once I got to that door, not going to talk about the job anymore. So please have your home as a sanctuary space because then it feels like the job is the toxicity is coming into your home. So let's not have that. The other thing is you might, if you're not already in therapy, I would strongly suggest therapy as well because you're with an objective person who can help you reality test about what's happening so you don't start self-gaslighting yourself. And then start following up on the resources, start getting your plan together, start watching videos, start thinking about coaches you might want to work with, register for the master class. But the main point is to know there's a way out. So you don't feel hopeless. There is a way out. And I hope you can see us by example that you can get out and you can do very well. You can do very well.
Not just out and making it or limping through. You can get out and thrive and
Thrive.
glow and create the
Yes.
life of your dream. But
Yes.
I've heard people say it's hard to receive when your hand is closed. And if you're holding on, clenching that thing, it is so hard to move on. It's hard to even see that there's a brighter light, there's a brighter day. But we promise you, you are looking at two pivoters. We absolutely did it. We absolutely left those spaces. And I promise you, I say this all the time. I'm special, but I really didn't do anything special. I followed a plan. I got, Dr. K, you said so many things that
Mhm.
were the very things that helped me through not eating lunch with people that I didn't enjoy company with. It didn't make sense. It made sense that my home had become a sanctuary, and I still
Yes.
implement some of those things now. My home is absolutely my sanctuary. When it's time, when work is over, oh, we don't conduct work here. There's a certain
Yes.
space, my place, we don't do work. And setting up
Mhm.
those boundaries, I think
Mhm.
boundaries, you're gonna get very comfortable with setting up boundaries and then honoring those boundaries. And you will find all of that help and support. Everything that Dr. K said and more in those 2 master classes. Dr.
Yes.
K, that takes us to our hour. Is there anything you want to leave the ladies with besides that? I think we've covered everything for sure. I'm going to
Okay.
put these links back up.
Okay.
The
Awesome.
first session is October the 20th. That is the how to leave a toxic job. The second session is October 27th. That's how to heal from this toxic job situation, because you absolutely can. Dr. K and Marissa are co-hosting this along with the other panelists. And I promise you, sister, you will not be disappointed. You will not be. The links are located in the chat. They're in the description box. They're also on my YouTube community page. And you can always get over to Dr. Kimani's YouTube channel, Lifting as We Climb, Consulting Wellness Services. And you can check
Yes.
out Marissa's YouTube channel as well. Dr. K, is there anything you want to leave us with before we sign off tonight?
Well, I am, again, I'm so sorry to you and to your audience. And full disclosure, I've been really busy trying to share information about the masterclass, and I was exhausted. So I took a little nap, like a power nap, and I had the time mixed up. So again, I apologize. But I just want to say to Black women that somebody asked me if the work that I'm doing right now, if it takes a toll on me, but it actually brings me joy. It really brings me joy to be able to continue to heal by sharing my story, but to know that I'm helping to liberate other Black women, that fires me up. I'm so filled with joy with that. And I might not even know you personally, but I want you to win. I want you to be healthy. I want you to know that there's another way. And I want to show you that there's another way. Not just tell you, I want to show you there's another way. So check out the master classes. They will be incredible. And again, you will not be on camera. Your name will not be listed. So, and it's not that expensive. Okay. It's really not that expensive. So take the opportunity, register, and also please share this with other Black women, because if you know another Black woman, more than likely she is in a toxic job as well. So please register and also share this information with other Black women.
Yes. And if you're with us in the chat tonight, please like, subscribe, share this channel. Please share this video. Send it out to somebody that you know might need it. And even somebody, you don't have to know them. Share this information. The ripple effect, they can share it with somebody else. We just want Black women to know they are not alone and that there's
Yes.
qualified help here, research-based help, professional help to get you through these tough times. So with that being said, Dr. K, thank you. It is always an honor. And listen, you don't have to explain. I already know Dr. K has been busy. I mean, busy beating
Man,
the
I've been on
drum.
YouTube streets, girl. I've been on the
Dr.
streets.
K, I'm
Yes.
watching you. I was like, look, I gotta go take a power nap because Dr. K is out here killing the game. But I am so proud of you, and I'm so happy with the
Thank
work that
you.
you're doing, Dr. K. I am so happy to refer folks your way so that they can be free and glowing. Because you know there is a glow. Once you get out of that crazy mess,
Girl.
there is an absolute glow to the women. You just pay attention, watch them. We're not just talking. Look at some of
True.
these sisters who've pivoted out. There's an
Yes.
absolute glow, and we want you to glow too, sis.
Yes.
All right, Dr. K, hold tight. I'm going to bid everybody a fond adieu, you all. And finally, do not forget that Maryland is raising money for Alzheimer's as well. And we love Mara Love. If it wasn't for Mara Love, none of this would happen because Dr. K, Mara Love has to call and wake me up. She's the one that keeps me. She keeps me on track to make sure that I am where I'm supposed to be and on time. So thank you, Mara Love. If you so inclined, please click that link and support Alzheimer's. It's a worthy cause. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow, I think. We have another live coming up on Sunday. Yes.
Wow.
So stay tuned, ladies, and we'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.